testing 1 2, testing wireless mic, testing 1 2. Okay, thank you.
So she using that one then?
Wireless.
Okay.
Go wireless. So leave it on.
All right, 10-4.
The Locomotive.
Tonight's match is presented by Estrella Jalisco. Estrella Jalisco, reach for a star.
USL Championship Group C action tonight from Southwest University Park. It's El Paso Locomotive FC versus Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. As we take a quick look behind the scenes presented by GECU. The Locomotive FC making their way home to Southwest University Park. We are only minutes away from another Western Conference showdown.
Welcome to the pre-match show presented by Brian Bird's Home Selling Team. Score the best deal on a home with the Brian Bird's Home Selling Team. Visit ChicoRealtor.com or call 915-751-1500.
Welcome, everybody. It is the Brian Bird's Home Selling Team pregame show. I am Duke Keith, along with my broadcast partner, Michael Ballaghan, who is in another booth as we practice our social distancing. And, Mike, coming off back-to-back losses, is tonight a must-win for Locomotive FC?
I don't know if I necessarily call it a must-win game with so many games left in a short season. However, the Locomotive really needs to start picking up points at home. With the shortened season and with the travel difficulties and the changes to how teams are traveling, they definitely have to start getting points and earning points at home. And it starts here tonight against Colorado Switchbacks.
Well, after a loss at home to New Mexico, El Paso went west to Phoenix. And early on, as we take a look at some of the highlights, El Paso on the board first. Dylan Maris, Josue Aron Gomez, enough power to roll it in, and El Paso leads 1-0. But that was very short-lived. After a foul committed by Drew Becky, Rafat Dadashov converts from the spot, rolls it in, it's 1-1. More problems for Locomotive FC. Two phrases you never want to hear in Phoenix: rising in the break and Solomon Asante. Too far out? Nah. Asante strikes, rising goes up 2-1. And lastly, Junior Flemings, couple of move, hits the power-up button and unleashes this one into the top netting. 3-1 rising, and that would be the final score, Mike.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough game on the road against a very, very good Rising FC. However, speaking to Coach Mark Lowry during the week, he felt like there was some positives that came out of that game. The amount of opportunities and chances they created in that game was phenomenal. They created 23 shots over the course of the game, and they were able to limit Phoenix Rising to just 7 shots. Unfortunately, Phoenix scored 3 of those shots, but it was definitely a lot of positives that Coach Mark Lowry felt they took from that game.
You know, it's interesting. Alan Koch from FC Cincinnati, the man who took FC Cincinnati into MLS, is Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC's coach. Since the restart, Switchbacks FC yet to come away with a win, though. They had a loss to New Mexico, first match back, a tie, and a loss against Real Monarchs, Mike.
Yeah, they haven't found their stride in this restart format. However, they've got some pieces that are very dynamic and dangerous. They've got George Labisi and Daniels, who are new players to this group, and they're definitely dangerous and players that the Locomotive are going to have to keep an eye on tonight.
Can Locomotive steam a little closer to the top spot, or will Switchbacks make a switch for who's in playoff position in Group C? That's the Brian Bird's Home Selling Team pregame show, starting lineups after the break.
Thank you for watching the pre-match show presented by Brian Bird's Home Selling Team. Score the best deal on a home with Brian Bird's Home Selling Team. Visit ChucoRealtor.com or call 915-751-1500.
Hey Locomotive fans, just so everybody knows, the team shops both here at Durango and Santa Fe Street are open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. However, you can always shop online at the team shop website. And if you shop right now, you get an additional 25% off the entire Locomotive VLT stock. So make sure you get to shopping because the sale ends at the conclusion of the match. And as always, go Locos!
Welcome back to Southwest University Park as we take a look at the Southwest University starting lineups. As once again, Locomotive FC taking on Switchbacks FC. We'll start with Locomotive and a late substitution. Chiro and Toko, a bit of a groin strain, not able to go. It will be Yuma wearing the captain's armband and in the middle, Mike.
Yeah, Yuma definitely has a lot of experience, and he's capable of coming in and being a solid player for Coach Mark Lowry back there. He's played in that position in the past. We saw him play there last year, so it should be a position he's used to.
Let's take a look at Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC right behind Locomotive FC in the Group C standings with 4 points. Be looking for number 17, Labisi, out on that right wing. Here's a young man from South Africa making noise in the United States.
Definitely a player that the Locomotive are going to have to keep an eye on tonight. He's dynamic. He's quality on the ball. It's going to be a player they're going to have to pay special attention to.
We are ready for kickoff. Our referee, J.J. Belinsky. Our assistant referees, Manuel Vargas and Chris Canales, Marco Vega, our fourth underway as Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC will have the ball to begin the game. Launching and going long, Yuma toes that one up for Richie Ryan. Ross, well played by Fox, but will come instead to Labisi. Puts one over. Taking a seat is, I believe that's Jordan Burt after a run-in with Yuma. Still looking for a little help, and that is Christian Valesky. Locomotive with possession, though, and here is Yuma wearing the captain's armband, the Spaniard. He and Richie Ryan, certainly the ageless wonders in their mid-30s, but still very much the engines that drive Locomotive FC. Back pass to Logan Ketterer. Switchbacks FC, after their opening win on the road at Oklahoma City Energy FC, 2-1. As we mentioned in the pregame, not able to get a win so far, though they did get a draw, and that puts them 1 point in back of Locomotive FC. 1-2-2. After a solid start and restart. 0-0 at Orange County back in March. And 1-0, a win to open the season at Southwest University Park versus RGV Toros FC. Long ball out of the back. It's the offside flag up on Josue Aron Gomez. Notable tonight for Locomotive FC, Memo Diaz getting his second start overall in an El Paso uniform.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see Memo Diaz get a starting opportunity. He's trained well. He feels like he's ready. Just has to have the support of the guys around him and play with confidence tonight.
Locomotive FC has barely given the ball back to Springs, to Colorado Springs Switchback. Switchbacks FC, managed by Alan Koch. As we pointed out, USL Manager of the Year, took FC Cincinnati into Major League Soccer before he was unceremoniously dismissed just a few games in the season. On the restart, down to the byline, great moves. Gomez leading off. Ross earns Locomotive FC a Chick-fil-A corner kick. Short corner, lofted to the far posts, and Saeed Robinson getting the nod against his old team. A little bit inside. Let's go to the Team Casa. Team Casa Ford, Casa Kia, Casa Nissan. Keys of the game, Mike.
Yeah, for me, there's three simple things. Finish their chances. The Locomotive in the restart have outshot their opponents 67-23 in the game so far in this restart. They've also put more chances on goal, on frame, than their opponents. However, they've got to put it in the back of the net tonight. That's got to be the number one focus for them. In addition to that, they've got to be really careful of set-piece opportunities. They've got some really good servers for Colorado Switchbacks, so can they limit the amount of set-piece opportunities they give Colorado, and then can they capitalize on set-piece opportunities? And then transition moment. We saw them give up 2 goals against Phoenix on transition moments. Can they limit those transition moments tonight against Colorado Switchbacks?
The Team Casa, Casa Kia, Casa Ford Lincoln, Casa Nissan keys to the game as Valesky gets a little extra talking to by J.J. Belinsky, our referee, for a foul on Richie Ryan. Laid off. Well played by Diaz. I think he wanted to send that one a little maybe further in back of Sean Melvin, the starting netminder for Switchbacks FC. Good first time thought by Diaz. New Mexico Player of the Year for the Gadsden Panthers. Stalwart soccer program in southern New Mexico. And of course, a UNLV running rebel.
And you see him get his second touch. First one wasn't the quality of a cross that he wanted. However, that second touch, just nice composure, heading the ball back to Logan Ketterer. Those are the touches that you need to get yourself settled into a game when you're not a regular starter.
Gomez and Maris trying to hook something up, but it rolls into touch for Switchbacks. Daniels, another one to keep an eye on. His ball gets away from him. Box to Yuma and around the horn to the S. Of course, Brian Rabellon injured coming into this match as well. He's almost back to match fit, but why take chances, says Mark Lowry. Thus, Memo Diaz starting out of that right wing. As we take a look at the Texas Tech Health Report for El Paso, thankfully, This ball played in. Here's Ross. In tight and covered by Melvin before Gomez could get there.
And the Locomotive have started off this game very well. You see the change from Colorado Switchback in their formation in the last two games against Real Monarchs. They played a 4-3-3, and tonight they're set up in a 3-4-3, respecting the quality of the Locomotive and knowing that they're going to need additional bodies on that back line to keep the Locomotive at bay.
Well, one in the air by Meshach Jerome. And another foul earned as Chapa takes a seat. Courtesy of Joan Servos. Capped by the Andorran national team. I have never seen a soccer player from Andorra before.
Sadly, I probably couldn't pick it out on a map.
Nor could I. It's one of the tiny ones in between Spain and France, I think. Jerome. Syed Robinson. Again, our referee, J.J. Bolinsky. The assistant referees, Manuel Vargas and Chris Canales. Bolinsky looks like he could bench press a little bit. Quite the physique. I think he'd give Ed Hockley a run for his money. Lewis plays it into space, and well done. BC. And we'll head down to the field in a bit to speak to our on-field reporter, Tanya Dominguez, here shortly. Rolled into space, well done by Maris, looking to exploit that left flank. Here's Ross, the Scotsman, crossing. Flag is up. Let's go downstairs to Tanya Dominguez as we take a look
there's
at...
a couple of things that are different as it pertains to travel. For example, last year, El Paso flew to Phoenix, and this year the Locomotive decided to take 2 buses instead. The idea here was to have the players socially distant on the buses as well. Now, in speaking to both Dylan Mares and Josue Aron Gomez, they both mentioned that these travel changes didn't necessarily affect them. And once they got to Phoenix, it was, business as usual. However, what they did say was one of the biggest challenges for them was the Phoenix heat. And I know we're used to some pretty high temperatures here in El Paso, but the heat at kickoff was 109 degrees. Now, Coach Mark Lowry said that he was very, very pleased with how the players performed. Despite the heat, they worked very hard. And obviously, it's not that hot here tonight. It is a little warm. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that that hydration break is going to be very well received. Back up to you guys.
Thank you so much, Tanya. And to your point on El Paso being used to the heat, temperature at kickoff for the July 11th match against RGV in the restart, 105 degrees. But Mike, you were in Phoenix. That's it's a little bit different kind of a heat, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you get the dry heat here, and you get a little bit of that in Phoenix as well. But at kickoff last week, they also had some humidity, which made the conditions that much harder to play and that much unusual or unfamiliar for the Locomotive players. So definitely some unfamiliar conditions at kickoff. However, like Coach Mark Lowry said, they fought through the conditions. They played very well, created a lot of chances, and it's just about putting them in the back of the net now for the Locomotive.
Trying to work Josue Aron Gomez into something, and Dylan Maris had a swipe at it at the last as Locomotive FC continues to put early pressure on Switchbacks FC. Fox, Ryan, the Irishman, into the middle for Chapara. Diaz. Slow roller, nicely done. Gomez can't get a foot on it. And Switchbacks FC will roll it out of play. The throw for El Paso. A point of emphasis for Mark Lowry this season. Quick throw-ins. And here is Maris. Gomez playing it back to try and keep possession, but it will fall instead to the waiting feet of Labisi.
I think more than just quick throw-ins is just transition moments. He talked a lot. He definitely has a ton of respect for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and how they went about playing this past season and how dynamic they were going forward. And to be able to to bring a bit of that into the Locomotive has been a point of emphasis for him this season. So transitioning quickly, playing the ball quickly, especially on dead balls, has been a point of emphasis for Coach Mark Lowry.
Eber Rubio going to retrieve that one. Chris Reeves. Well, Liverpool setting all sorts of standards, and why not? Quite the team to emulate. It'll roll into touch for El Paso Locomotive FC. Locomotive starting the season well enough with the 0-0 draw at Orange County. The restart, obviously, a 1-0 win versus RGV, and then a 2-2 draw versus New Mexico. As all the way up to Gomez, the cross up high, batted away by Melvin. The rebound drops to Chapara, and he blazes it over the crossbar.
Another great movement from Jose Aaron Gomez and Nick Ross, combining on this near left side and getting in behind the back line of Colorado Switchbacks. They've got to get quality crosses and some runners in the box to be able to test Colorado Switchbacks.
A reminder that since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select, the official ball supplier of the USL Championship, many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest in Select products and special offers, visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Chris Reeves trying to keep it out of trouble, rolling it back to Melvin. Diaz earning a throw in to Herrera. The Borderland blitz, and of course on the bench for Locomotive FC is Omar Salgado. Box fighting through the challenge of Burt, still trying to get it, gets a hold of it. Fox finally dispossessed. Biding his time. Was Arturo Despe. Rolled back by the S. A few touches tonight for the Gadsden man. Into the middle, Herrera. Well worked, Gomez. Taken down, and the foul is called. It's out of the box, but it will be a direct kick for El Paso.
That's a great combination. Again, bringing in Jose Aaron Gomez. We saw it last week in Phoenix with the combination between Dylan Maris and Jose Aaron Gomez, playing him in for the goal. And here we see it again. Just a quick 1-2, a quick combination play, and Jose Aaron Gomez was on to goal, but was unfortunately taken down for a free kick right outside the box.
And a caution issued to Chris Reeves here in the 15th minute.
I anticipate this would be Dylan Maris taking this. I saw him taking some of these in training yesterday.
Physical yellow card to Chris Reeves, and it is right on the edge of the box. I think Belinsky got the location of this exactly right, but you would have to think Dylan Maris can show his stuff. I know that Mishak Jerome always lurks around these things, anything outside of the area, but this might call for a little touch.
Yeah, this is most definitely Dylan Maris' territory. He's been working on these in training. Hit some beautiful ones in training yesterday.
Maris swinging it in! 1-0 Locomotive as the clock moves into the 16th minute on the free kick from outside of the area. Dylan Maris makes it 1-0 Locomotive.
And that's just the start that the Locomotive need. A great free kick from Dylan Maris, picking the goalkeeper side, recognizing that the goalkeeper was shifting to protect the space behind the wall and just putting it right into the corner. Great job from Dylan Maris.
His second goal for Locomotive FC is the match winner versus RGV Toros, and perfectly executed. Low and around the side of the wall, and nothing Melvin really could do about it. That is the first goal Locomotive FC has scored from outside of the 18-yard box. The first off a direct free kick this season as well. The Hospitals of Providence goal in the 15th minute. Dylan Maris off the restart. Beautiful free kick. Curving into that far post. Locomotive FC ready to go back to work. Ishak Jerome. Capped by the Haitian national team, of course, missed quite a bit of the season after rupturing his Achilles, playing for his native Haiti in the Gold Cup last year. Box, Locomotive stretches it from side to side. Yuma back the other way, and Jerome. Going up the field, Saeed Robinson, nice touch. And another foul called, whistled outside the box. High boot. As I believe that's Chapara taken down.
And you hope he's okay. Looks like he just gets tangled up there. Should be two.
Just he got his boot tangled with Chris Reeves, who just really needs to watch it at this point. It was his yellow card that led to Maris's goal.
And this is another great opportunity for the Locomotive to get another free kick up chance on goal. You've got to love how the players in the diamond, Nick Ross, Chapara, are combining and playing off of the two center forwards for the Locomotive in Jose Aaron Gomez and Saeed Robinson. The relationship between those four players has been absolutely fantastic in the first 18 minutes of this game. And they're going to have to keep that going to be able to create more opportunities, to create some goal-scoring chances in this game.
This is all Ishak Jerome from outside of the area, kind of off to the right. Jerome. Setting the way he wants it. Will have a go, rolls it slowly, and have a worm burner. Actually wasn't slow enough to find Fox on the far side. You say slowly because you're used to the way Ishak Jerome hits the ball, and that man can send it 40 or 50 yards, maybe 2 feet off the ground, and it never loses altitude. It's amazing to watch, but that one looking obviously for the far post and Andrew Fox.
Yeah, he's definitely able to spray the balls and distribute it better than most center backs in the league. However, he's mishit a couple of set-piece opportunities so far. However, it looks like his teammates still have trust in him. They're still letting him take them.
Daniels lofted a hopeful ball into the middle. Picked up by El Paso. Here's Diaz, Richie Ryan, and Yuma. Ross, Maris, Ryan. Is that a dummy pass? Either way. Burt. We'll give it back to Melvin, and Locomotive FC will restart.
Mark Lowry has to be pleased with how those front four players are playing off of each other and playing together. Just their ability to know where the other one is. You see Nick Ross dummying balls to Jose Aaron Gomez. You see Jose Aaron Gomez and Dylan Maris combining with each other. On the far right side, you see Chapara and Saeed Robinson working off of each other. Coach Mark Lowry has to be pleased with that, because that's exactly what they've worked on all week in training.
Kurimoto doing what he can just to keep Switchbacks FC in some possession here. Kurimoto, a native of Japan. Andre Lewis, good work. Trying to get something up that wing. It'll bounce straight to a waiting Gomez, and he rolls it in. Josue Aaron Gomez makes it 2-0 in the 21st.
And what an opportune goal from Jose Aaron Gomez. That all comes from the pressure of Saeed Robinson and Chapara. That pressure we have not seen up high from the Locomotive forwards so far in this season. It's something that Coach Mark Lowry has really stressed on his forward. Their willingness to work, their willingness to put the other team under pressure. And here you see it in Said Robinson. You see it in Chapara, and it creates a turnover, lands at the feet of Oceano Gomez, and he does the rest and slots it into the back of the net.
On the transfer from Locomotive FC's sister club in FC Juarez Bravos for a second year. Second leading scorer for Locomotive FC with 8 goals in 2019. He is up to 3 already to start this campaign, and Mark Lowry fired up. Locomotive FC scoring twice in both matches against Switchbacks FC last season. Of course, a very different look. Steve Tritchu, oh, that one bounces wide. Covered by Yuma. Josue Aron Gomez, a goal in each of Locomotive FC's last 3 matches. Well played, well done. Talking about Switchbacks FC, Steve Tritchu relieved of his duties on the 1st of July as Logan Ketterer will spray it up the field. Boldy Harris, MLS veteran, Colorado Foxes, MVP, took over as interim coach, and then the final 3 matches of the season they had gotten Alan Koch, who had been released in his first season in Major League Soccer after leading FC Cincinnati to the pinnacle. But still obviously work to do as he tries. There are only 6 returning players from the Switchbacks FC roster 2019 to 2020, Mike.
And you can see why that continuity is important. That's why they're struggling. You come into a new season, you think you've done just the amount of work that you need to do. You're starting to get used to each other. You play your first game of the season against OKC. You get a win, and then you have to go on this long hiatus, this long break, the shutdown and the lockdown, and you lose all of that. So Alan Koch is having to start all over and trying to find the continuity and the chemistry within this group.
23rd minute caution issued to Memo Diaz. So 1 for either team. The physical yellow card to Guillermo Diaz. Good pressure here. Diaz will boot it out for a throw. Hospitals of Providence goal in the 21st minute, scored by number 26, Josue Aron Gomez. Switchbacks having to be a little more offensive-minded. Getting tangled there, Burt. Trying to blow things up is Maris. Andre Lewis able to keep possession. And now they'll work it up the left wing. Kurimoto back around to the other side. Little toe drag to Burt, trying to cross. Fox. It'll be out for a throw.
And for the first time in this game, it looks like Colorado Switchbacks have gotten into a rhythm and able to possess the ball a couple of times.
Lubisi. Right to Maris. I don't think that's what Lubisi wanted. Here's Diaz playing it into space for Said Robinson. Robinson gets his way wide by Cervos. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2020. Sign up today and get alerts all year long following your favorite club on ESPN.com. Search for El Paso Locomotive FC and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores and reminders on Locomotive FC's next match. ESPN.com now. Click follow for your club. Mark Lowry. You wouldn't know he's pleased, but obviously he is. 2-0. And Locomotive FC putting a couple in the back of the net within 6 minutes of each other.
Yeah, he's definitely he has to be pleased with how this first half has gone so far. Not needing a lot of shots to get 2 goals, and that's been a big point of emphasis. Can we finish our chances? In the game against Phoenix, the last game against Phoenix, they took 23 shots and only scored 1 goal. So the efficiency in this game is definitely much higher and much more to Coach Mark Lowry's standards.
Daniels tries to whip it across, easily taken by Ketterer. It's after dispossessing Andy Fox, who tried to get all the fancy footwork in just to keep the ball and find someone to pass to. Gomez and Fox. Yuma. Last minute substitution. He was on the bench. Here's Mishak Jerome. One of those balls searching for Gomez, not able to find him. Ryan. A frustrated Aiden Daniels triple teamed, and Locomotive FC has possession back. 83%. Tied for 3rd in the league in terms of passing efficiency. Long ball, just wide up and over Saeed Robinson. Let's take a look at our Southwest University player profile. Josue Aron Gomez. 3 goals. That is leading the team, 12 shots. And his 3rd consecutive match. It is so wonderful that he has gotten the opportunity to stay in El Paso again, Mike.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten comfortable in this system. Feels really comfortable with the players, with what Coach Mark Lowry wants, and he fits into what they're trying to do here in El Paso. He works hard in training. He's the ultimate professional. Doesn't really complain much. Just goes to work, does the job, and goes home. Coach Mark Lowry's been definitely pleased with his contribution to the group since joining from Juarez last year.
Chapa Herrera able to intercept that pass from Valesky, and it seems like Switchbacks FC can't string more than 2 or 3 passes together at any one time without having the ball taken away from them. Trying to do the same to Dylan Maris, and they do. Good effort from the back by Burt. Daniels. Kurimoto.
To your point about the Switchbacks not being able to connect multiple passes, that just comes down to the Locomotive getting set up in their attacking half, in the attacking 3rd, really pinning Switchbacks back and getting numbers around the ball. They're looking for those quick combinations and quick play between their attacking players, and when they lose it, they have numbers around the ball, so it's really easy for them to counter-press right away. Very similar to what Liverpool does, and win the ball back, and that's what we've seen them do this entire first half.
60% possession to 40%. Locomotive FC dominating possession here in the first half, and the scoreline 2-0. Good turn, Daniels, and that's going to be a foul on Daniels. Nick Ross takes a tumble. Daniels a little frustrated perhaps. And it's our hydration break. Our Hydro Flask hydration break. Coming at you here in the 31st minute as J.J. Belinsky will search for a little refresher. And while we have a few seconds, shall we talk a bit about the Star Scholarship Fund? Scholarship founded by the La Mantilla family, who owns and operates L&F Distributors. L&F proudly distributing our match sponsor, Estrella Jalisco Beer. The goal behind the Star Scholarship Fund is to help students contribute to continue their education once they graduate high school. And because L&F Distributors pays for operating expenses. 100% of every dollar donated by sponsors goes directly to El Paso students. So far, Star Scholarship Fund has helped more than 16,000 kids from South and West Texas pay for college through their scholarship. And Mike, as a coach with Locomotive FC's youth soccer club, college has been something you've been focusing on with the youngsters quite a bit lately.
Yeah, most certainly. Our goal through the college program is to help players understand what their options are, not just with institution, but also in terms of stacking private, public scholarships and grants. We've really focused on that and really want to make sure that the players understand what's out there, what options are out there, and they're not putting all their eggs in one basket, or they're not limiting themselves. So really a big shout out to Star Scholarship Fund for what they're doing in giving opportunity and alleviating the financial burden that could come with higher education.
Not everybody gets an athletic scholarship, even kids who play at a very high level. Locomotive FC certainly kind of helping plug a gap for some of the more talented youngsters here in El Paso. We talk about Memo Diaz, who did get a scholarship, full ride to UNLV, where he starred for the Runnin' Rebels for 4 years. But you talk about somebody like Chapara, probably never thought about going to school, working with his brother's roofing business. Shows up at open tryouts, and there you see Chapa gets the start tonight. Works his way in and on to the Locomotive team, signs a professional contract. And not everybody gets to go to school to show their stuff, like Omar Salgado or Memo Diaz.
Absolutely, but it's important to have scholarships fund, or to be aware of scholarship funds like the Star Scholarship Funds for the players and those students who want to continue and go on to play in college. So a big shout out to them for what they're doing and helping students in the area to make sure they continue their education.
Well played back heel by Lewis. Gets Servos. A bit open. They decide to go back around the horn. And here is Burt. Burt, the long ball, looking, chested down in the box, covered by Jerome and Yuma. Still a 50-50 ball, and Ketterer says thank you.
And Jordan Burt does very well there to bring that down off his chest. Isn't able to find the second ball, however, to be able to bring the initial ball off his chest was really, really impressive.
Christian Valesky doing the honors. Well done by Burt to pick that out. But here's a long ball up the way, a little too long. Out of his box initially. Sean Melvin is going to have to retreat to come and pick this one up. Wanted to flash up and challenge Chapara, so Chapa knew he was coming. Here's Lewis.
No, we've talked about it already, but Coach Mark Lowry has to be pleased with the interchanging of position, interchanging between Chapara and Saeed Robinson. Saeed Robinson, who came in as a center mid, as an attacking center mid, however, find himself playing more as a forward in this game, allows Chapara to make those runs in behind because Saeed Robinson is comfortable playing in the midfield. So Coach Mark Lowry has to be pleased with that interchanging of positions from those two players.
The cross blazed wide and over the back line. Arturo Dispe, Cuban international, has played and been capped with the Cuban national team. Helped them win a Caribbean Cup in 2012, but doesn't find the touch there. Having to expend some effort to stay in front of the defense. Maris dispossessed right in the middle. Labisi. Found Ryan. Meshach Jerome getting a foot to that. Cleared out of trouble. But Labisi was ready to go. Maris, that's going to be dangerous. High boot. A little too near Kurimoto. And the quick restart for Switchbacks FC. Yuma. Able to get a touch to that. It will bounce eventually to Diaz. Robinson's knocked down, and that will be a foul. Ever Rubio. taking down the former Switchbacks FC man.
That's a tough challenge there.
Texas Tech nod to the dock right now.
See,
Ricardo Ruiz comes out to take a look at it.
he's definitely trying to win the ball. However, just a bit late on the challenge. Saeed Robinson does well to get a flick on it. However, that flick on it means putting his body, his head and his neck on the line.
Well, Rubio gets a stern talking to and may be fortunate not to see a physical caution. Yellow card issued by Belinsky. But we play on. Locomotive with things well in hand, 2-0 and looking for more. Stepping in front of Gomez is Dispe. Burimoto dispossessed. Good work by Robinson, who's back up and running. Nicely played to Ross. Room to roam for the Scotsman. Ross comes back for Fox, looking to the far post, and Robinson appreciates the effort but amounts to nothing. Lobisi from Cervos. Burimoto back to Lobisi. Nice job to get it into Valensky. Headed up and over by Yuma over the back line. It'll be a corner kick. Yuma pleading his case that he had his shirt pulled, but that one was a little dangerous. We'll have a Chick-fil-A corner kick upcoming for Springs, for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Going to the far post, fisted away by Logan Ketterer. For a Switchbacks throw. Lewis. Dispe and Lewis. Arturo Dispe deflected out. Take a look at the sure hands of Logan Ketterer here in a bit. Dispe, long throw and knotted. Good work to get it to Burt. He was looking for the second ball. Ketterer picks it up off the turf beforehand. And the long ball, trying to get it out to Gomez on the bounce. Josue Aron Gomez rounding the corner and gets it taken out for a corner kick.
That's a terrific ball from Logan Ketterer, recognizing that Jose Aron Gomez had bursted out of the field and was on goal. Might have played it just a bit long, however, giving Jose Aron Gomez a chance to run towards goal and possibly get a chance at a shot.
Reeves did well to get back in time to challenge. I think Gomez expended all his energy getting there. Short corner, Ross. Dummy ball up to the top of the box. Actually, I don't think it was a dummy. It was looking for Gomez, who has it again. To Ross. Locomotive would like to keep the field switched. Good work by Maris. Goes to the top of the box. Karimoto. Able to get out of trouble for Switchbacks FC. Karimoto again. Labisi. Lewis. Looking for that over the top, and it doesn't go where George Labisi wanted it to. Out for a Locomotive throw.
For the first 35 minutes of this game, George Labisi was pretty quiet, but we've seen him really move around in the last 5 minutes trying to find the ball, and the Locomotive are going to have to continue to keep an eye on him because he is a dangerous player and a player that could spark the Colorado Switchbacks attack and create something for them.
Chested down by Gomez. Cleared away by Switchbacks FC. Andy Fox trying to get possession for Locomotive, but Andre Lewis has it. Burimoto into the middle. Chapara will be whistled for the foul as he takes down Dispe. They'll take the quick restart. Rubio. Back with it again, Ever Rubio. Reeves. Lewis. Burt chested down, trying to get control, and he gets the jump. Jordan Burt over the back line. And Yuma says, depending on your call, assistant referee, I'll agree with you.
And Yuma does a really good job coming over to help out Andrew Fox on that ball to Jordan Burt. Although he's not a natural center back, he does have the experience, and he's a very savvy player, able to play multiple positions on the field.
Mishak Jerome picking out Robinson. Diaz into the middle. Herrera. Yuma keeps it moving, and a lot of room for Andrew Fox, the Englishman. Slow and up the middle of the field. Ryan. A Great Britain connection. Fox to Ross to Ryan.
That's a great run from, just saw a great run from Nick Ross. Unfortunately, Mishak didn't see him. However, if he had played it, Nick Ross was walking in on goal.
Actually, Richie Ryan may be taking me to task for saying that Ireland is part of Great Britain. A little bit of Ireland is, but not Richie Ryan's home county, Tipperary. Here's Gomez. Gomez will take the ball back to Ryan, plays it to Fox.
Jose Aroman Gomez has got to get himself more centrally, closer to the goal.
All the way out on the left wing right now.
That's where he does his most damage. That's where he's most effective.
Maris, good ball from Jerome. Played into space for Fox. Fox will take a crack to far post. Robinson, late run, but a little too late.
A really good ball from Mishak Jerome to find Dylan Maris across the grain of the field. As the Colorado switchback players shifted to the right side, playing that ball towards the left side and finding Dylan Maris in that pocket. And he was able to turn and play it wide to Andrew Fox. Not the service he wanted, but that has to do with the runners in the box and not having enough runners in the box and options to pick from.
Reeves under pressure, blasts the ball upfield. It'll be a throw-in for Locomotive FC. Las Vegas taking center stage August the 25th. Lights FC, Las Vegas Lights versus Orange County SC on ESPN Deportes. Looking to maintain the pace set in Group B. Lights FC, Orange County SC, a must-win on the national stage. Don't miss the drama unfold August 25th at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. How about Mountain Daylight Time on ESPN Deportes? They'll loft another one, hopefully into the box. Valesky, frustrated by lack of service, just not able to get it where exactly he wants it. But you see Switchbacks FC's plan. Alan Koch wanting to find his target number 9. With the one opportunity he had, did a pretty good job chesting it down against a Locomotive double team. Here's Reeves. Rubio.
If Colorado is going to serve those early balls into Valesky, they've got to get other players running in with him. They've got to get Aiden Daniels running in behind. They've got to get George Labisi running in as well. It can't just be Valesky in the box on his own, trying to flick the ball on or trying to bring the ball down without options around him.
Chapa has his pass upfield deflected by Kurimoto. 2 minutes of Jarrito stoppage time to finish out the first half. Locomotive leading with 2 goals, 6 minutes apart, from Dylan Maris and Josue Aron Gomez. Locomotive FC awaiting the services of Eder Borelli and Leandro Carrijo, both coming in from Locomotive's sister team of FC Juarez Bravos. It is, my understanding, a matter of paperwork, among other things. But on the bench tonight is the newest Locomotive player, Matt Boehner. Speaking of FC Cincinnati, was part of that. St. Louis FC as well. He's made the rounds in his native Midwest. Well done by Yuma, escorting it over the back line for the goal kick.
Yeah, he's definitely a player that's going to give the Locomotive more depth in this roster. He's familiar with Coach Mark Lowry's system and how Coach Mark Lowry likes to work, having played under him in Jacksonville. So definitely a player that will come in right away, knows what to expect, know what's expected of him, and is going to look to do the job.
From my understanding, goes quite a bit out on the wing, right wing especially. We'll see where Mark Lowry wants to play him when and if he makes it into the match tonight. And that is the first half done and dusted. Locomotive FC with a 2-0 lead going into the locker room. A couple of quick looks at the highlights as Mark Lowry's squad happy after the first 45, happy after the first 15. Dylan Maris on the free kick, swings it around the wall. And Josue Aron Gomez with a blast. 2 goals from outside the box. What is this? 2-0 Locomotive at the half. Back with more coming up right after this. You're watching Locomotive Soccer on the CW.
Hey Locomotive fans, just so everybody knows, the team shops both here at Durango and Santa Fe Street are open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. However, you can always shop online at the team shop website. And if you shop right now, you get an additional 25% off the entire Locomotive VLK stock. So make sure you get to shopping because the sale ends at the conclusion of the match. And as always, go Locos!
Welcome to the GECU Halftime Show. Manage your accounts 24/7 with GECU Online Banking, the GECU mobile app, and GECU ATMs. Learn more at gecu.com.
Welcome to the GECU Halftime Show. The score in El Paso is Locomotive 2 and Switchback FC 0. The Locomotive are now 4.5 matches in, and the team is showing plenty of improvements on playing their style and dominating possession. While the result in Phoenix wasn't what they wanted, there was a lot of positives to build on from that match. Head coach Mark Lowry and Dylan Maris talk about how the team has been finding rhythm and how the wins will come.
We set a task of going to Phoenix and dominating the game with our style, going in their house, and we did. We outshot them 23-7. You know, we outpossessed them.
Slipping this through, Eric Dick came off his line and it rolls past the line and in.
Guys were phenomenal. They did everything we asked. They restricted their front three to 4 shots between the 3 of them. Unfortunately, out those 4 shots, they scored 3 of them. But that's what happens with Asante. Asante had 1 shot all game, and he's a guy that usually gets 10 shots a game. But he scored the 1 goal the shot that he had because he's a quality player. That's what happens against quality teams.
We're putting ourselves in a little bit of a pickle by giving up goals early, and I think we're having to dig ourselves out of a hole, and it makes it more difficult. I think it kind of, in the back of your mind, you almost rush situations because you know that you need to score. We go out and fix it throughout the week and try and not make as many, or those mistakes that we're unfortunately causing in the early parts of the game that are hurting us. So just build on top of that, and I think we're doing the right things.
The guys are showing like visible improvements in the areas we want them to improve on, but I think it's clear for everybody that while those improvements are great, we want it to turn into wins, because that's important as well. But I know that I've been through this before. The players have. You stick to the process, the wins come, and then once the wins come, they tend to keep coming, and that's kind of what we're aiming for.
Head Coach Mark Lowry's focus has been on keeping their intensity for a full 90 minutes and converting their chances. After the break, we'll have a look at the standings and first half highlights as the GECU halftime show continues.
The USL is proud to bring professional soccer back into our communities and across the ESPN family of networks. Follow your local club and don't miss these exciting matches coming up on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes.
Dr. George Champus from Northwestern and U.S. Soccer's Chief Medical Officer joins me. Coach, try and describe, as soccer has returned around the country over the past month, the work that you and the doctors at U.S. Soccer and in association with the USL Championship, the work you've put in to make sure everybody remains safe for athletes, staff, referees, and in some cases, fans.
Well, Mike, first, it's great to be with you, and watching the USL getting back on the field is really a special thing. To be perfectly honest with you, it's been a collaboration across, I think, our sport in the United States. I think it's what's been really, while we've seen so many challenges with regards to COVID, one of the really good things is seeing, all of the leagues come together, from USL to CONCACAF to NWSL to MLS to NISA, all of us really banding together as a single sport to find a pathway that is first and foremost healthy, and putting our players and all of the staff, coaches, announcers, referees, a top priority. And then subsequent to that was looking at our youth game, that we as a federation, can we create a very responsible guideline that really resonates across the sport.
Welcome back to the GECU halftime show. The score in El Paso, Locomotive FC 2, Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC 0, as you see the El Paso Strong banner revealed in the first home match after August 3rd. With us again tonight in El Paso. Let's take a look at the Group C standings. New Mexico United, a big win tonight on the road against Rising FC, the team that defeated Locomotive FC 3-1 last weekend. 10 points for United on top of Group C, but Locomotive FC looking to edge a little closer to the top and keep their second place spot. If Switchbacks FC is able to make the comeback and get a full 3 points, they would leapfrog Locomotive, but they've got to do it, and it's an uphill climb. Down 2-0 at the break. And Real Monarchs SLC, the defending USL Cup champions, at the bottom, they're basically tied with Switchbacks FC for third place, but in fourth, just because of the goal differential and other situations. As we take a look at our Hospitals of Providence employee spotlight, honoring tonight Gabriela Hidalgo. Gabriela, a registered nurse at the Hospitals of Providence East Campus, an amazing critical care nurse seen as the mom of the ICU. Miss Hidalgo assists in the unit with whatever is needed, always makes it her goal to help and teach new nurses, and she treats each patient with warmth and kindness, going above and beyond to provide the highest quality of care. Our thanks to Gabriela and to all our area healthcare workers. We have the first half highlights coming up for you next as the GECU halftime show continues. Ozzy hanging out with our cardboard conductors, our Estrella Jalisco cardboard conductors, doing a little social distancing. Of course, he's already got his mask on. More Locomotive Soccer right after this.
Hey Locomotive fans, just so everybody knows, the team shops both here at Durango and Santa Fe Street are open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. However, you can always shop online at the team shop website. And if you shop right now, you get an additional 25% off the entire Locomotive VLK stock. So make sure you get to shopping because the sale ends at the conclusion of the match. And as always, go Locos.
Welcome back, Southwest University Park, the place. Locomotive FC up 2-0 as Ozzy still hanging around with our cardboard conductors. Let's take a look at league news from around the USL Championship. El Paso mutually parting ways with Fabrice Facobo never appeared in a match, and signing defender Matt Boehner. We talked about him late in the first half. Played for Mark Lowry with Jacksonville Armada during the 2016 season, making his return to play in USL with 2 seasons, FC Cincinnati, and the 2019 season with St. Louis FC. He's an Ohio boy, but back with Mark Lowry again. And Mario Slomes transferred to North Carolina FC, playing for North Carolina FC again. It is a transfer from Locomotive FC to North Carolina as the Big Dutchman moves back east. And Michael, some pretty interesting moves, but all in an effort in a very shortened, condensed season to make things click for this Locomotive FC team. Up 2-0, I'd say it's worked.
Yeah, definitely. Those are definitely moves that you have to make. There's a sense of urgency because the season is shortened. So you have to have the right pieces. You have to have pieces who are able to contribute right away, and that's what they needed and what they wanted to do in bringing in Matt Boehner in the middle of the season. So definitely excited about the addition to the team and the direction the team is going in.
Taking a look at the first half stats provided by Peter Piper Pizza. Passing accuracy, almost 88%. 83 for Switchbacks, which is no slouch of a team in possession itself, at least in terms of passing accuracy. Tied for 5th, right behind Locomotive FC, tied for 3rd atop USL Championship with the possession. 54% to 46%. And it's been a huge difference in this match so far. We will have some of the first half highlights and plenty more coming your way next. You're watching Locomotive FC Soccer on your El Paso Las Cruces CW.
Hey Locomotive fans, just so everybody knows, the team shops both here at Durango and Santa Fe Street are open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. However, you can always shop online at the team shop website. And if you shop right now, you get an additional 25% off the entire Locomotive VLK stock. so make sure you get to shopping because the sale ends at the conclusion of the match. And as always, go Locos!
Welcome back. Southwest University Park is the place here in El Paso. El Paso strong. Locomotive FC leading Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. They have been strong in the first half indeed, 2-0. Duke Keith and Michael Balagan with you. Let's take a look at our first half highlights as the GECU halftime show continues and Locomotive FC makes its way onto the field. Josue Aron Gomez, rough foul from Chris Reeves. This was in minute 15. Reeves whistled for the yellow. He would get the first caution of the game, and on the restart, Dylan Maris. What a strike from Maris. Maris swinging it in. As you say, Mike, he's been working on that in practice, and then Josue Aron Gomez. A lucky bounce, maybe, but he makes the most of it. Karams into the middle. Gomez waiting for his chance, and then unleashing from about 22 yards out. Left-footed bomb into the near post. And 2 goals in 6 minutes, just what the doctor ordered for Mark Lowry as we get ready for our second half. Mike?
Yeah, definitely Coach Mark Lowry has to be pleased with how the team performed in that first half. A lot of positives. They're going to have to keep that same intensity, the same quality that they have in the front part of that first half in the second half. They kind of took their foot off the gas towards the last 10 minutes of the first half and let Colorado get some rhythm, get some possession in that first half. So they're going to have to make sure they don't take their foot off the gas in the second half and let Colorado back into the game.
About ready to kick things off for half number 2. It'll be Locomotive FC to start with possession. And we are underway. Gets away from Mishak Jerome. Throw in for Switchbacks FC. Reeves. Burt playing well in the back, looking for a long ball. Well intercepted by Andrew Fox. Ross trying to dig his way out of trouble and gets clipped. It will be a free kick for Locomotive FC. Labisi, the offending party. Richie Ryan. Three substitutions for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Austin Dewing in for Aiden Daniels. Ubaldo Luna in as well for Eber Rubio. Rani Argueta in for Arturo Dispe. So Ubaldo Luna, Rani Argueta, and Austin Dewing making their way into the lineup for Alan Koch, who can't be happy at all with what he's seen in the first half of play. And these will not count against the Tropical Smoothie Cafe in-game substitutions, you get 3 opportunities to bring in as many as 5 players. But if you make it at halftime, it doesn't count as one of those 3 opportunities. So 2 more subs available for Alan Koch. And lots of opportunity here in the second half to make it if he feels necessary. Corner kick, easily grabbed by Logan Ketterer.
And those substitutions aren't very surprising. Alan Koch has got to feel like he needs to create something in this second half. He's got to get their attack going in the second half, and every single one of those substitutions are attacking minded, and forwards can create for them and get them going in the attacking half.
They'll switch it out to Memo Diaz. Ryan. And we've got a foul that'll give Colorado Springs the restart. Let's go downstairs to Tanya Dominguez, who got to speak to Mark Lowry a couple of minutes ago.
I'm here with head coach and technical director Mark Lowry. Coach, we saw a lot of intensity here in the first half. Do we expect to see the team continue to control the second?
We need to. We need a third goal. We need to get 3. 2-0. 2-0's a dangerous scoreline. So if we can get the third goal, we should put the game to bed.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mark Lowry, obviously, rushing to get back to the bench, but 2-0, he's absolutely right. It's one of the most dangerous leads in sports.
Yeah, definitely, and he's got to feel that way with how much Colorado were able to play themselves back into the game towards the end of that first half. They didn't really create a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities against Logan Ketterer. However, possession shifted in their favor in the latter parts of the first half, so he's got to be aware of that, and he must have reminded his players that that third goal is crucial, and it essentially kills off the game.
Kurimoto to Burt. Burt playing essentially at right back here, but he delivers quality service. One of the great servants of this Switchbacks FC team. Burt was there in the inaugural season 2015. Over 10,000 minutes as of last year with Switchbacks FC.
He's a player that's woven into the fabric of this club in Colorado Switchback.
Taking a big strike at it from way out is Ubaldo Luna. That was a very hopeful ball. Swerving away for the goal kick. Luna, another of the 3 substitutions to begin the second half for Alan Koch. You can see Switchbacks FC trying to get some traction. Trying to get the gears going here in El Paso tonight on a warm summer's evening. There were rumors of 10% chances of showers this evening, but I think with the lack of clouds by about 5 o'clock, that kind of went by the wayside. There is Burt again. Switchbacks FC announcing with their ownership a brand new soccer-specific stadium. Of course, they play in one at Widener Field, but looking for something downtown. Widener Field, wonderful venue for soccer in Springs. Here's a turnover. Ryan, uncharacteristic, trying to weave his way through his doing. Gets that one, taking a swipe at it as it's played back to Ketterer. Awkward clearance. Controlled by Luna. Terabos intercepted. Off target on his pass, and Diaz says thank you. Yuma. In for Chiro and Toko. A bit of a groin strain coming in today. And Toko listed among the starters, but he is not on Locomotive FC's bench. Took pregame. Did what he could. didn't feel comfortable going, and so they will give the big man a rest. Yuma also wearing the captain's armband in replacement of Chiro and Toko. Yuma Monsalvis.
He's done a solid job back there next to Mishak. Two veteran players with plenty of experience between the two of them.
So what are you doing with a 5'7" center back? Well, not many center backs handle the ball like Yuma, even at the age of 35. It will bounce, though, here to Lewis. Kurimoto. Back again to Lewis. Looking for some way in. Nice touch. But well fended by Locomotive FC. Burt. Labisi trying to make a nice pass maybe for a second runner, but to no avail. Again, Diaz showing well defensively here for Locomotive FC. These opening minutes of the second half. Ketterer trying to play it out of trouble to Fox on the touchline. Ross, Yuma, Fox. Well done. Gomez, Maris. From Chapara. Diaz ready for that, but headed into touch.
Really good patience and composure under pressure from the Locomotive. Moving the ball around, dealing with the pressure from Colorado Switchbacks.
Diaz thinks the better of trying to cross it. Maris will spray it left, and here's Fox. Fox can deliver a good ball, does, into Robinson. Couldn't get a hold of it entirely. Out it'll bounce. Diaz trying to get there, but on it first is Lewis. Good intervention. I believe that was Reeves back there as well to help for Switchbacks FC, but they can't keep possession. Again, rolled into touch for Locomotive FC. Memo Diaz letting the hair grow. His quarantine cut. Looking pretty solid.
Might have told him something different.
Well, a certain look at that. Look at that salad. Come on now. You have to admire it, Mike. You have to admire the salad.
Sure, he's got a mid-game snack in there somewhere.
Possibly. Here's Maris weaving his way through. Dylan Maris looking for that last pass. Switchbacks FC providing none. No opportunity. Maris. Nice back heel from Ross. Locomotive FC, a bit of the magic circle, it appears. Yuma. No way in up the left wing, so Locomotive FC will switch it. Move it back and try again. Ryan. Nice ball to Ross. Ross with a bit of real estate. Ross against Burt. Ross trying to come across, trying to drop it off, touched away from Gomez. Lewis will draw the foul from Chapara. But again, what a sequence for Locomotive FC.
Really good patience, really good combination play between Dylan Maris, Nick Ross, even included Chapara in there. For two players who have not been playing with each other for long. Dylan Maris, Oceano Gomez have really developed a good understanding of each other, a good understanding of where the other will be. I'd also include Dylan Maris and Nick Ross. They've developed that partnership, that relationship that you've seen all throughout this game in their quick combination, their quick play.
Mishak Jerome elects to go up the field, and that's going to skip away. A little too tall for Memo Diaz.
The pressure of Colorado in this second half, the increased pressure of Colorado in the second half is now asking Chapara to drop a little deeper to help in the build-up. In the first half, he was able to play higher and exchange positions with Saeed Robinson further up the field, able to break lines and run in behind, but he's not able to do that in the second half. So far in the second half, because of the increased pressure of Colorado Switchbacks. So Coach Alan Koch has got to be pleased with that. However, I'm sure he'd be more pleased with a goal to get his team back in this game.
And so far, Switchbacks FC has not been very close in that regard in half number 2. Into the 59th minute here tonight. Fans follow Locomotive FC and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the nearly 8 million fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Up the middle of the field, Argueta. Dishes out to the left wing, Luna. 2 of those second half subs for Koch. Keeping possession for Colorado Springs. Back for Lewis. A bit tall but handled by Burt. Burt will come centrally. Nice thought to get the ball up to Doing, but easily clipped. Ketterer will shake hands with Christian Valesky. Quick foul going Locomotive FC's way. The USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allowing clubs from the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. Following the success of the first Academy Cup events last season, clubs can now apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off in spring of 2021. More information on the USL Academies, visit usl-academy.com or search hashtag USL Academy on social media. Something that you are a part of, my friend, with Locomotive FC, and how impressed are you with the youth talent in the El Paso area?
Definitely been pleased and with what I've seen so far. I think with the Locomotive Youth Club coming in, it's only going to create and give more exposure to players in the area that's never been there before. Obviously, you have the USL Academy, but you also have the opportunity to play for a club with a pathway to the professional environment. So that's only going to create more exposure for players in this area. So the goal is to identify the best players in the city and be able to put them in an environment where they're competing day in, day out with each other, with the ultimate goal to get them into the next level, whether that's the professional level or the college level.
Saeed Robinson's night is done in the 61st minute. Coming on is Omar Salgado, our Tropical Smoothie Cafe substitution. Brings on the blazing feet of El Paso's own Omar Salgado. He has a goal. It's interesting, you look at Switchbacks FC, they've scored 7 goals. 1 was an own goal, but spread the scoring to 6 different people. How about that slip by Ross? Ross crossing, nobody in blue on the other side. Diaz will run it down. Flipped away from him, but covered by Chapara. Coming out from that deep lying position. Ball back from Richie Ryan. And it is ruled out. Throw in for Switchbacks FC. But imagine being able to take off Saeed Robinson and replace him with Omar Salgado, who has given wingbacks nightmares more than once off the bench for Locomotive FC in his 2 seasons with the club.
Absolutely. And Saidi Robinson had a very good night. I thought he was much better in the first half when him and Chapara were able to combine and play off of each other.
Great work to get loose for a shot, but clipped at the last off the feet of Dewing. And an easy roller for Logan Ketterer at the end. Mishak Jerome, Richie Ryan with their hands full, though, as Austin Dewing, one of those second half subs for Koch, blazing in from the right wing.
And that front three of Colorado's looks more dynamic in this second half than they did in the first half. They've got players like Luna and Dewin who are willing and want to take players on.
Good double team. But you're absolutely right. Switchbacks FC trying to get and stay on the front foot. They'll have the ball again here. Servos intercepting that one. And it is kind of a tale of two halves for Switchbacks FC. No payoff yet. They haven't really had any opportunity. I think doing maybe the most dangerous ball chance they've had anywhere near Locomotive's 18-yard box. But you can tell there is a difference.
Absolutely. Been really impressed with Andre Lewis in this game. He's the heartbeat of this Switchback team, constantly moving around.
To Labisi here from Lewis. Chipped into the box. Labisi trying to get there. Lifted out by Ross. Good defensive cover. And now Kurimoto. But Switchbacks FC definitely in the ascendance here in this second half. Burt. Dewing. Goal kick.
Dewin is going to be really disappointed with that service. Had a few runners in the box. And Valesky and Luna, and was unable to pick out one of them or even put it into a dangerous area to trouble Logan Ketterer and the back line of the Locomotive. But the Locomotive are really going to have to step up and be better in their possession in this second half. They've been pinned back for the majority of this second half, so they're going to have to get the ball further up the field and get back into playing in the attacking half like they did in the first half of this game.
Yuma Monsalves. Lofts a nice one over the top. Gomez in a sprint for it, but still pressure. They had to play it back. Good work by Reeves to get it to his man, but almost dangerous for Sean Melvin. Here's Ross talking about that front foot. Nice heel from Gomez into the middle and in. Chapara, third man in. It's 3-0 Locomotive FC.
And that's well worked from Nick Ross. His ability to drive forward. Great combination again with Jose Aron Gomez. That relationship has been absolutely terrific in this game. A good 1-2 between Jose Aron Gomez and Nick Ross. Gets his head up and finds Chapara for the third goal of this game and his first professional goal in his career. Well done from Nick Ross and a great finish from Chapara.
Ross doing the majority of the work, but what a back heel from Josue Aron Gomez. A little flick, not quite the back heel, but the flick into the path of Ross. Just so well worked by Locomotive FC.
Absolutely. Talked about that relationship between those players. Is this a chance for a fourth?
Salgado clipped away. Salgado to control, trying to loft it back in, top of the box. Headed and cleared off the line. Gomez had it taken away. Servos admonishing his teammates. He was the one whose foot kept the ball from the back of the net for a quick fourth.
Those are the areas that Omar Salgado has to get better at with his pace. He gets himself in those positions quite often, and he's got to be better at just just toe poking it or getting a touch on it and knocking it past the goalkeeper.
Burt, he's pinching in. Well done by Fox. And all sorts of spaces open up. Here's Omar Salgado, ready to go against Reeves. Salgado will take him to the back line, pull up a little bit, just trying to keep possession, gets around his man, rolls it, and another goal! Chapara with the brace. How about that? El Paso to El Paso. Omar Salgado taking on the tired legs of Chris Reeves. We talked about it coming in. It's 4-0 Locomotive FC.
And Coach Mark Lowry, after the game against New Mexico, talked about them finishing their chances. And if they get one, if they get two, the floodgates will open. And here we see it today. The floodgates have opened for the Locomotive. They're not only doing it with their build-up play and being positioned in the attacking half. However, they're doing it on the transition as well. Finding Omar Salgado, having him run at the back line, the tired legs of the Colorado Switchbacks back line, and finding a wide open Chapara, who's done a terrific job getting into the box.
Gets his first goal, why not two? 2 minutes apart, 66th and 68th minute. For the man who showed up at open tryouts last season and earned his way onto this team. From the man who was the #1 overall draft pick of the Vancouver Whitecaps in 2011. MLDS covering will give Colorado Springs Switchbacks a corner. Hospitals of Providence goals scored by Chapara in minute 66 and 68. 4-0 Locomotive, the most goals this team has ever scored. Corner whipped in and cleared away.
And Duke, there could be more in this game. You see Colorado Switchbacks. Heads have gone down right after that fourth goal. Legs look very heavy.
Of course, I believe I'm forgetting Fresno. So this ties for the most goals Locomotive FC has scored in any game ever. It's Portland Timbers 2. A 4-1 win over Timbers. That was here in El Paso late last season. I do recall this. But as you say, Michael, it could be more. Easy save for Logan Ketterer. That one coming off of Kurimoto. But I believe that's actually the first shot on goal Switchbacks FC has had tonight. And from way out. Talked about Andre Lewis. Coming from Portmore United in Jamaica. Indeed, that's confirmed. First shot on goal this evening. And only 4 shots in total. As Yuma holding his ground. On Luke Ferreira, who's checked into the game. Tropical smoothie substitute. Luke Ferreira into the match. I believe that was just after Chapara's first goal. Ferreira, you've heard of dual citizenship. He has triple citizenship. How about that effort? Good work by Ferreira to get it to the front foot and earns a free kick. Blazed over the crossbar, but contact made by Yuma. And a solid opportunity for Switchbacks FC to get off the schneid. About 25 yards out. Locomotive FC about ready to make a substitution themselves. And it will be Distel Sola coming in to replace Luis Chapara. What a match for Chapa tonight.
And
our Tropical Smoothie Cafe substitution. Chapara's night is done. As Boleski
definitely
will be
a
replaced by
night
Mamadi Kamara.
Definitely a night that Chapara is going to remember for the rest of his life. Definitely a night that he's going to tell his grandkids about, scoring 2 goals, getting his first professional goal, and then scoring the second one in the same game.
Ferreira will challenge Ketterer, but there is a solid save. Decent effort. We talked about Luke Ferreira. Triple citizenship, American, Portuguese, and Brazilian. But Distel Zola ready to finish things off. Defensive midfield substitution. Former French national teamer. Juniors, I'm talking about not the senior team, but the youth teams. That pass is off target. Andre Lewis, right place, right time. To Burt. Lewis dispossessed by Ryan. Maris, that's a rough challenge. Play on, says J.J. Belinsky. Back up and running. Servos. Luna. Taken down. It'll come to Argueta, though. So Switchbacks FC maintaining possession. Lewis. Reeves. Doing will lay it off for Argueta. Good spell of possession, but no payoff as of yet. Step over to the far post it goes. Bouncing ball. Looking for the second man was Burt, to no avail. Burt leading the team with 7 goals last season, certainly capable of stepping in. He'll loft one into the box. Grabbed by Ketterer. Under a bit of a challenge by Doing, among others.
That a really good spell of possession for Colorado, but not able to pick that lock, pick the lock of the back line of the Locomotive. They've done a really good job of just keeping everything in front of them, moving their feet, sliding side to side, and making sure Colorado doesn't get a good opportunity or a good look on goal.
Our Hydro Flask hydration break here in minute 75. As temperatures probably around triple digits, maybe not quite at kickoff. But Locomotive FC, you can see Switchbacks FC does have a game in hand on El Paso, but it is Locomotive leading 4-0. As we take a look at our upcoming schedule. In this Hydro Flask hydration break, for Locomotive FC, it is back on the road next week at Real Monarchs SLC. Our Estrella Jalisco upcoming schedule. Then at Switchbacks FC a week later, followed by a home match against the defending USL Cup champions and the team that vanquished Locomotive FC in the Western Conference Finals last year. First match in El Paso against SLC after traveling to Real and the Salt Lake area next week. At Switchbacks FC again, and then at New Mexico United. That is to be determined because New Mexico is still under orders where they cannot play in their home stadium as of yet. That game might well be back in El Paso on the 5th of September.
Not sure how much of a difference that will make for the New Mexico United players.
Right. On the road, 10 points so far going into Phoenix. And they have beaten Phoenix in Phoenix before.
Absolutely. Last week going into OKC and getting 3 points, so they're definitely comfortable on the road. They have yet to play at home, so they might not mind continuing this road form and just continue to play games on the road.
Well, so well supported. I know they had a jersey kit reveal and opened their store at like 5 in the morning, and people have been lined up all night. Socially distanced, of course. They had it all marked out. But Coming to El Paso from Albuquerque and covering the old New Mexico Chiles in 1990. And watching 5,000 people pour into a stadium where they didn't sell beer on an old AstroTurf field, I can tell you. El Paso and Albuquerque, both ready for the professional teams they have as of 2019. You just hope for someday soon to be able to see fans. That one slipped wide. Good work here by Chapara. And in. Shot saved by Ketterer.
What a great save from Logan Ketterer.
Pereira trying to get it to Burton. He takes a piece of the assistant referee. Let's take a look at this one.
Does well to move his feet back across the face of the goal and get enough of a hand to that to knock it out and not give up a rebound in front of his goal.
Austin doing the honors. Second half sub. Played his college ball at the United States Air Force Academy. Powerful shot parried away by Logan Ketterer. Might well be your save of the match right there. Bacobo. Lewis. Burimoto. And Burt. There is doing. Burimoto will switch it over to Lewis. Zola marking him. Wait into space. Burt's got an opportunity to deliver a quality cross and just wide. Fortunate for El Paso.
And Jordan Burt has delivered a few dangerous crosses in this game. This one teases the back line a little bit in between Logan Ketterer and the back line of the Locomotive. Colorado not doing enough to get a foot on it, not running hard enough from the forwards. Just redirected on frame. A great cross from Jordan Burt.
Burt's been delivering quality balls in from that right wing all night long. This one finds nobody in white. It's a Locomotive throw-in. Work by Gomez, but again in a foot race with a now tiring Chris Reeves, you can tell. Still loses that foot race. Plenty of speed for Chris Reeves. But as Omar Salgado proved, the tank's a little closer to empty here in this half number 2.
Even if the tank was on full with the pace of Omar Salgado, he makes a lot of defenders look like they're running on empty.
Too true. Luna, good work on that right wing. Doing. Luna trying to challenge, get to that back line for a cross, and Ross gets it to bounce off of Doing, and it'll be a goal kick. How about that piece of work by the Scotsman?
He's one of the fittest players on this team, so it's no surprise that Nick Ross is able to do the work like he did on the goal, the first goal for Luis Chapara, and assist, but also recover and defend in the 80th minute to keep the Locomotive shut out.
Cerebos does a pretty good job on Salgado to win the throw-in. Burt with Doing. Burt advancing. Luna, Reeves, and Kurimoto. Talk about this Locomotive team, and obviously losing Mario Lomas, the transfer back to North Carolina Railhawks, or North Carolina FC these days. Releasing Fabrice Facobo. Here's a cross. That's dangerous. Trying to come back for a shot. Is Doing again. It will bounce and in for the goal, right to the waiting feet of Ubaldo Luna. Switchbacks FC gets one back here in minute 82.
And Mark Lowry's got to be disappointed about that goal. Obviously, they still have a 3-goal cushion. However, coming out of this game with a shutout would have been really, really impressive. Would have been the extra little cherry on top of the great performance that they put in so far. With 8 minutes left in the game, can they now pick up the tempo, pick up the pace, and see out this game and not make sure Colorado doesn't get another goal?
Locomotive FC among the league leaders in shutouts coming into tonight with 2. It's still very early in the season, but obviously not a whole lot left of a 16-game season. Gomez will win this ball. Salgado trying to lay off, gets brought down. Play on. There is Dewing. Runs into Richie Ryan and draws the foul. But if you talk to Mark Lowry, he's not interested. Well, obviously you're interested in winning and scoring, but his main thing is keeping the clean sheet. That has not happened tonight. But Locomotive FC, 7 minutes plus stoppage time away. Rather, 6 minutes plus stoppage time away from picking up 3 points. That, as the man said, is the name of the game. It's a foul whistled on Zola, who's going to get a warning here for Belinsky. Like he kind of manhandled Andre Lewis coming through there. Servos. Luna. The 7th goal scorer for the Switchbacks FC team. As we say, they've had scored 7 coming in, including an own goal in their win over Oklahoma City Energy FC. Nobody scored more than 2 for the Switchbacks FC team. We've got a substitution for El Paso coming up. Coming off the field will be Memo Diaz during the 85th minute. And coming on will be Matt Boehner. So we get our first look at Matt Boehner tonight.
Very good performance from Memo Diaz in his first start of the 2020 season and his second start for the Locomotive. Really putting in a good performance. Even though he's filling in for Brian Rebellon, who's a regular at that position. He's done himself a lot of good with how he played and how he handled this game.
Offensively and defensively, the US showing himself to be worthy maybe of a little more time in this Locomotive lineup. Time will tell. Here's Ferreira. Ferreira going for the far post and hooks it wide. So your Tropical Smoothie Cafe substitution coming onto the field, Matt Boehner for Guillermo Memo Diaz.
Even though this game got away from Colorado Switchbacks in the second half, Alan Koch has got to be able, he's got to recognize that there's some positives to take away from this second half. The subs that he brought on at halftime and the subs that he's made in the second half have done a terrific job.
That's going to be a caution issue to Burt as he takes down Moses Makinde.
That was an ugly one. Very late on that challenge. Nowhere near the ball.
87th minute, our physical caution issued to Jordan Burt.
Does come showing, but is off the ground.
Yikes.
Moses Makinde's very lucky that his foot wasn't planted and it didn't come down on his shin.
It'll be Maris, and anything kind of at an angle. It might be a little far out, but anything at an angle, you get ahead to it, and it's almost like a scratch shot in pool.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Andrew Fox is not. Here he is. He's getting into the mix. Nope, he's going back. I'd anticipate they're going to be looking for Distal Solo on this. He's very good in the air.
Dangerous position for Maris. Already shown the magic in that foot earlier tonight. Swings it in, far post, headed out of trouble. Good work by Servos. And it would have been offside anyway.
Yeah, it looks like Omar Sagado and Moses Makinde.
Bit of an early start.
Absolutely.
Burimoto trying to work something. Well, you take a look at the rebuilding project Alan Koch has been tasked with at Switchbacks FC. Obviously, Switchbacks ownership investing in their team. And you look at the difference in statistics, as this one will bounce kindly for doing out on the right wing side. We'll bring it up in a minute. Good slip move across the face of goal. Ketterer dove for it, missed. But it'll be out for a corner. Last touched by El Paso. Too quick in the corner. Let's take a look at this one again.
Another dangerous ball in between the back line of the Locomotive and Logan Ketterer. Really teasing ball.
Doing some work here tonight. Luna crosses that one in over the back line. Goal kick.
Every time you say that, I can't tell if you're trying to. It's a pun.
Pun intended. But he has been doing some solid work since coming into the 45th minute. And the thing about the Switchbacks FC team is we kind of pick things up where we left off. Their ownership certainly expecting bigger and better things going into a brand new soccer-specific stadium that they're ready to build. Maintaining their relationship with Rapids, Colorado Rapids of Major League Soccer. And Alan Koch, here's a man who, do you remember watching, I don't know if you remember this at all, the U.S. Open Cup match against Chicago Fire. Led on, Maris towed away by Melvin. Great pass from Salgado, caught him in stride. But that Open Cup match in front of a packed Cincinnati University football stadium, played on AstroTurf or whatever their surface was, packed it out, and it was Koch's FC Cincinnati that really opened the door and opened eyes in Major League Soccer that Cincinnati was a viable market.
Absolutely. If I remember correctly, it was against Chicago Fire, and I remember seeing that game. It's like, what is going on in Cincinnati? I happen to have some friends who actually...
Oh, another one. Great strike and a goal by Luna, who has the brace as we enter Jarrito stoppage time. There'll be 4 minutes of Jarrito stoppage time. Ketterer doesn't want to give the ball up. Gives a little shove to Luna. But 4 minutes of Jarrito stoppage time, and it started off Ubaldo Luna. Makes it a 4-2 game.
That goal makes this game just a little too close for comfort. Obviously, in 4 minutes, a lot can happen. However, the Locomotive are going to have to see out this game. They're going to have to shore up that defense and maybe even possess a little bit to finish out this game. They can't just let Colorado dictate the tempo and dictate what happens in the remaining 4 minutes of this game.
2 goals in 8 minutes for the second half sub. Ubaldo Luna. Here's Maris, wants the foul, won't get one. Lewis steadily done his job all night long for Switchbacks FC. Rolled into space, and that's going to be a foul on Dylan Maris, showing a bit of frustration, and will receive a physical caution, a physical yellow card here in stoppage time.
And that's definitely a frustration foul, feeling like he got His progress got impeded when he had the possession off the kickoff. However, we've seen this from Colorado for the second time. Last 2 games ago against their first game against Real Monarchs, they were down 3-1 and were able to come back late in the game and tie that game up 3-3. They definitely have an attitude, a fight about them that Alan Koch has to be impressed with. However, they're constantly getting themselves in these situations where they're down late in the game and having to fight back. So that's going to be something that he's going to be focusing on as they look to finish out the season, is how do I get this group playing the rest of the game, or the majority of the game, the way they're finishing games.
And coming back against Real Monarchs, it should be pointed out they did that with 10 men. 3-3 draw in Utah. And a foot left in by,
I believe that was Del Sola.
Yep. And another restart from a dangerous spot. Was it too far away from there where Dylan Maris swung one in around the wall? This will be Andre Lewis. Lewis to the far post, headed down, rolled, and off the line. Flag is up, won't count. I think Dewing got a touch, but the flag is up. Offside is the call. No goal.
I'm sure Coach Mark Lowry and the local fans that are watching at home had their hearts stopped just for a split second. A great ball into the back post. The Locomotive have to see out this game and make sure they don't give any more opportunities to Colorado Switchbacks.
Well, you heard Dylan Maris talk about giving up goals early in matches. It's being one of the things Locomotive FC has worked on. That's 2 goals after the 80th minute. Both of them scored by Ubaldo Luna, and almost a third off the restart here. Locomotive FC's usually stalwart defense has not been something they've been able to keep for a full 90 minutes. Say for that one game, well, 2 matches. The 1-0 victory over RGV and the 0-0 draw, the 0-0 draw versus Orange County. Swung it again to the far post, headed over by Meshach Jerome. And wow, they say it wasn't Jerome, but Burt who had the last touch. And it will be a goal kick for Locomotive FC. My goodness, Ketterer shaken up a little bit after that action, but Alan Koch's men have not given up tonight in the Sun City. Reading a lot of their pregame comments coming in, they were worried about the heat, and the temperatures did near triple digits. Could this be the last kick of the match, though, as we are into the 96th minute? It is indeed. 4-2 is the win, but it was a little closer, and I don't think Locomotive FC is going to feel quite as good as they would have going into our post game.
Yeah, however, it's a win at home, a win that they desperately needed, having only picked up 1 in the 3 games so far at home. So definitely a step in the right direction. However, there's going to be some conversations between Mark Lowry and this team about how they saw out this game and how they played the second half.
4-2 is Mark Lowry. And to shake hands with our officiating staff, J.J. Belinsky. Not a particularly contentious match as far as referees were concerned, but Colorado Springs Switchbacks, a lot of fight tonight to climb back with a couple of late goals. Nonetheless, Locomotive FC gets it going. Luis Chapara with a brace tonight. His first goals for his hometown team. Let's take a break. We'll come back with highlights and an interview with our Estrella Jalisco star of the match. When we return, you're watching Locomotive Soccer.
Hey Locomotive fans, just so everybody knows, the team shops both here at Durango and Santa Fe Street are open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. However, you can always shop online at the team shop website. And if you shop right now, you get an additional 25% off the entire Locomotive VLT stock. So make sure you get to shopping because the sale ends at the conclusion of the match. And as always, go Locos!
And let's go here in a sec.
Welcome back, Southwest University Park, the place. Locomotive FC tying their most goals for a game. 4 goals this evening against Colorado Swing Switchbacks, and they needed all 4. As we take our highlights now from our estrella of the match, could there be any doubt? Luis Chapa Herrera with a brace tonight, scoring his first professional goals. Nick Ross doing work. Gomez, nifty flick. Ross to the third man in, Luis Chapa Herrera. And then Ross able to send that pass exactly where it needed to go. As we take a look at multiple angles of that one, Chapa Herrera rightfully pumped. And Omar Salgado, second half substitute, versus Chris Reeves. Luis Chapa Herrera with the brace on the night, our estrella of the match.
A great win for the Locomotive, needing to get back on track, needing to get points in the win column, needing to get points at home, and I thought they did very well in that first half especially, but definitely did well in the second half to capitalize on the few opportunities that they have, and super excited and overjoyed for Chapa Herrera for being able to score his first professional goal and be able to add to that and get a brace here at home.
The goals 2 minutes apart. Let's head down to our sideline reporter, Tonya Dominguez, with our estrella of the match.
2 goals, back-to-back, minutes within each other. Tell me, how important was this win tonight, and how are you feeling?
It was really important. We were losing points in the previous games. This was our chance to turn things around. So lucky to score 2 goals, but the important thing here is that we were able to get the win, so happy for the team.
How confident are you feeling now that you have a full season under your belt?
I don't know. I just feel each game I feel a little bit more confident, and the group each day gets better as playing as one, and that just gives me a confidence inside the field each game.
So in tonight's game, we saw all of our local players get some playing time. How did you feel sharing the field with them tonight?
I feel special. We were actually talking about that during the week, that it was going to be the first time that we'll get all of us some minutes. It was something special for the city.
Any message that you have for the city tonight?
Not really, but just thanks for the support all around.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Luis Chapa Herrera, and well-deserved estrella of the match tonight. And Mike, as we see the El Paso Strong banner, I tell you what, having all 3 El Paso area guys on the field at the same time was pretty special. Omar Salgado, the second half substitute, but the starters tonight, getting his first start this season, Memo Diaz, along with Luis Chapa Herrera, our estrella of the match, and that is pretty special on a night when we fly the El Paso Strong banner.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got to be a motivation for any young player out there in the city, in the area, who are looking at this and we're looking at those players and saying, that's what I want to do. The opportunity is there. It's not going to be handed to you. However, the opportunity is there if that's something that you want for yourself. And tonight, to be able to see 3 players from the El Paso area playing together for the Locomotive was absolutely special and a great moment for the city.
Well, let's go to our physical play of the game, and can there be any doubt about this one? I think that this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the physical play of the game. Omar Salgado working on Chris Reeves, takes him to the byline, stutter step. Look at this move. Shirt held, that's in the box. It probably, if the referee had seen it, might have been a penalty. Had not Chapara done exactly that. But another angle, that's just great work by the El Paso and Omar Salgado.
Yeah, that's well done by Omar Salgado. Obviously, he's a big body. However, he's got some good feet. He has really good feet, and just giving a little hesitation there, freezing Chris Reeves off, and then going by him with the nutmeg, picking his head up and combining with the fellow El Paso in Chapara and setting him up for a second goal. A great move from Omar Salgado, a great pass, finding the local in Luis Chapara.
The GECU save of the game, and I don't think there's any doubt about this one as well, as Locomotive FC coming away with the 4-2 win tonight. Let's take it back, and good work here by Chapara. Great work doing. That's a great save by Logan Ketterer off of another great second-half substitute for Switchbacks FC, Austin Dewing.
Yeah, that's a really good save from Logan Ketterer at full extension, moving his feet back across the face of the goal and getting enough on it to parry it out of the frame of the goal, recognizing that he's got to do enough to parry it away from the front of the goal where Switchbacks have multiple options for a tap-in.
And there you have our GECU save of the game. 3 full points for Locomotive FC pending the outcome of New Mexico United and Phoenix Rising FC. Could Locomotive FC find itself that much closer, 2 points away from the lead, with 8 points now in Group C? As we take a look at our post-game stats, brought to you by the Hospitals of Providence. Locomotive, the most important one right up at the top. 4 goals to Switchbacks 2, although Mark Lowry will definitely be talking about 2 late goals after the 80th minute scored by Switchbacks FC, who had 12 shots. They outshot El Paso in the night, but only 5 on target to 6 for Locomotive FC. And, of course, 4 goals. That'll make the percentage a little better. Couple of offsides for Locomotive FC. Passing accuracy, that's all second half. Locomotive actually outpassed by Switchbacks FC 88% and 86% for Locomotive FC. That doesn't usually happen, but Switchbacks, no slouch in possession themselves when they have the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. This is a performance that you would expect from the Locomotive in the playoffs. This is a playoff-type performance where we want to get the win. They want to get the win at any means necessary. It's not so much how you win, but that the fact that you do win. So for them to play a game like this is very, very important. And as Chapara talked about, they had dropped a couple of points in their last 3 games. So to be able to get back in the win column, get some points on the board was very important. And that's what the Coach Mark Lowry is going to take away from this game. Yes, there are going to be things that he wants to improve on, especially how they played in the second half. But knowing that they got closer to New Mexico United is very important and a big takeaway from this game.
Again, that New Mexico United Rising FC game underway right now in the Phoenix area. As we take a look at the next match, it is on the road for Locomotive FC at Real Monarchs SLC next weekend as we move into the next match presented by the Brian Birds home selling team. El Paso at Real Monarchs SLC. That is August the 16th, 15th rather, next weekend, and then home on the 22nd against Colorado Spring Switchbacks FC, on the road against Switchbacks FC on the 22nd. So a couple of road matches before they're able to return home the 29th against Real Monarchs SLC. So the challenge is there. Locomotive FC, a team that has done well on the road before, but they have got to shore up the defense a little bit if they want to go in and take any points away from a resilient Switchbacks FC team and Real Monarchs, the defending USL Cup champions.
Yeah, Real Monarchs is definitely going to be a tough challenge going into Salt Lake City at altitude to play against a very good team in Real Monarchs. They're definitely going to want some revenge from that game last year. However, the most important thing is that they continue to get points like they did tonight. Then they've got to go back and play against Colorado Switchbacks, a team that in the second half you could say outplayed them. However, they were able to come away with 3 points in this game, and Coach Mark Lowry has to be pleased. The players have to be pleased with the result, not so much the performance in the second half.
2-2-2 and 8 points. Second in Group C. Firms up for Locomotive FC on a night when we fly the El Paso Strong banner put together by our friends at the Eighth Notch. 3 El Pasoans combining to score goals in this game. Luis Chapara, your estrella of the match, appropriately, as we take a look at all of the replays of all of the action tonight. Offensively, Josue Aron Gomez starting things off after Dylan Maris scored his off the free kick, and then a pair in the second half from El Paso's own Luis Chapa Herrera to round things out. For Michael Balogun, for our sideline reporter Tonya Dominguez, and our producer Juan Gutierrez, I am Duke Keith. The final score again from El Paso, Texas. Locomotive FC 4, Old Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC 2. So long, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.